Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are decoding Red Bull's infamous garbage marketing strategy. If you've ever wondered how a brand convinced the entire world they are the absolute epicenter of extreme sports and nightlife, well, the answer starts somewhere totally unexpected, literally in the trash.
Okay, let's dive into this seriously bizarre mystery from the 1990s. Just imagine a company deliberately taking its own brand new product and chucking it straight into the garbage. We're talking stuffing empty cans into nightclub bins and campus trash cans all across London. I mean, on paper, it sounds like a massive, expensive logistical error, right? But in reality, it was a highly calculated maneuver. To really understand why they did this, we have to look at the massive hurdle they were facing. In the 1990s, the energy drink category, which, by the way, Red Bull had basically helped create, was suddenly incredibly crowded. It was totally saturated. Every beverage company wanted a piece of the pie. If Red Bull had just relied on traditional billboards or TV ads, their voice would have been completely drowned out in the noise of a dozen competitors screaming for attention.
So what did they do? Red Bull completely skipped traditional ads. Instead, they opted for this gritty street-level illusion of popularity. They sent teams to traipse around London, physically stuffing public bins near the coolest bars with empty Red Bull cans. They left crushed cans near popular nightclub doors and handed out free samples directly to trendy DJs. They were literally manufacturing an environment where they appeared to be the absolute hottest item in town.
And this brilliantly illustrates the invisible force at play here: social proof. It's that psychological phenomenon where we just kind of follow the leaders. When consumers walked past those clubs and saw all those empty blue and silver cans piled up in the bins, they instantly assumed Red Bull was the absolute essential byproduct of a great night out. Why? Because, well, everyone seemed to be drinking it. It was subliminal marketing at its absolute finest. Now, what's really fascinating here is how this taps into our subconscious wiring. The underlying idea is that social proof works because we trust our peers infinitely more than we trust marketers. Seeing those cans everywhere acted as an implicit endorsement from the cool crowd. We really don't want a brand telling us what's cool. We want to observe what our peers are doing and just emulate it. In fact, the data totally backs this up. A staggering 92% of consumers are more likely to trust non-paid recommendations over literally any other type of advertising. When you see a crushed Red Bull can outside a trendy club, your brain doesn't register an ad. No, it registers a real-world recommendation from someone who's out having a great time. So, the absolutely crucial point here is that Red Bull didn't just buy ad space. They hacked the attention economy using sheer creativity. Attention economics treats human attention as a rare commodity. So instead of buying a wildly expensive, tiny fraction of your attention on a crowded TV network, they commanded your attention on the literal pavement you walked on. They turned everyday trash into a powerful brand statement. Let's move to the data and see how this builds. Because this bizarre stunt didn't just generate a fleeting buzz, it translated into immense, record-breaking dominance. Today, Red Bull holds a massive 43% global market share in the energy drink sector. To put that into perspective, they are the undisputed leader, and that massive momentum, it all started with those empty cans in the trash. But you might be wondering, where did this mastermind brand actually come from? To truly appreciate their strategy, we really need to trace the brand's origins, because Red Bull didn't start out as a trendy European club drink. It took a dramatic pivot by an Austrian ad executive named Dietrich Mateschitz. Let's look at the timeline. The story begins back in 1982, when Mateschitz was on a business trip to Bangkok. Suffering from severe jet lag, he discovered a local energy tonic that completely cured his exhaustion. Recognizing the massive potential, he partnered with the creator, spent years re-engineering the company, and debuted the new Red Bull in Austria in 1987 before completely dominating the UK in the 90s.
Mateschitz didn't just import the Thai drink, though. He transformed its entire identity. He took the original drink, called Krating Dang, and morphed it into the Red Bull we know today. The contrast between the two is just fascinating and captures the sheer power of their branding pivot.
So, the original product, Krating Dang, was created by Thai businessman Chaleo Uvidya. It was uncarbonated, sold at a very low price point, and heavily marketed as a medicinal tonic. Its core target demographic in Asia consisted of factory workers, farmers, and truck drivers who needed a cheap boost to get through grueling workdays. It was deeply, deeply rooted in the working class. But Mateschitz took a massive risk with the repositioning. He added carbonation and extra caffeine to the formula. He ditched the medicinal look for a sleek, slim aluminum can. He deliberately jacked up the price to a premium level. And most importantly, he completely shifted the target audience, aiming squarely at elite, young, and adventurous, affluent Europeans. Basically, he made it an aspirational status symbol for high flyers. Of course, when you introduce a premium-priced product, you face immediate logical resistance from consumers. Like, why should they pay more? Well, Red Bull solved this by ensuring their newly designed premium cans were seen in the hands of the exact right people. By giving samples to upscale ski resorts, trendy clubs, and DJs, they completely bypassed that logical resistance. Cans in the right hands became the ultimate proof of quality. Red Bull always knew their true value lay in selling a lifestyle, not just a drink. And today, they've doubled down on this exact same social proof strategy through the modern brand playbook, which really comes down to three main pillars: curating exclusive events, deploying brand ambassadors, and leveraging user-generated content. Step 1 is events. Red Bull throws their own massive, thrilling parties and competitions. We are talking exclusive DJ sets, insane soapbox derbies, and extreme sports celebrations. They even orchestrate supersonic stunts, like remember Felix Baumgartner's record-breaking Stratos skydive? By creating these wild environments, every single attendee and everyone watching at home becomes an implicit endorser of the brand's adventurous lifestyle. Steps 2 and 3 rely on ambassadors and user-generated content. They engage student marketeers to drive around campuses in those iconic can-topped cars, handing out samples to their peers. They also source incredible viral photography and video directly from their fans through initiatives like the Illume contest. They essentially created influencer marketing before social media even existed. They turned their fans into a massive, authentic library of peer-to-peer advertising. So what should you actually take away from this explainer? Well, while you probably shouldn't go fill local street bins with your own product, the underlying lesson is absolutely crucial. Find a creative way to demand attention. Identify your unique selling point, know exactly how your audience finds you, and please do something different. Don't just copy the competition. Take those creative risks, but always let the data guide what works. I will leave you to ponder this final question as we wrap up. What makes your brand stand out in a crowded bin? If Red Bull can turn literal, everyday garbage into a 43% global market share empire using the psychology of social proof, what unconventional risk is your business just waiting to take? Think outside the box, or, in this case, the trash can. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.